today we are going to go through a leg workout. So we are going to start out with a unilateral elevated hip raise. So this is a great exercise to warm up and activate the hamstrings, to warm up and activate the glutes, and it's also really good for letting you know or showing you if there is a strength discrepancy from one side to the other. So with warm-ups, probably 2 to 3 sets, 12 to 15, just to warm up, get the blood flow going, and make sure muscles are activating.
Unilateral elevated hip raise or bridge here. So one foot goes up on the bench, the other foot goes up in the leg. So we're moving our entire body weight with just the one leg. The elevation is giving us extra range of motion. So we really should feel this in the hamstring and in the glute of that working leg. You're going to also feel core working a little bit, but primarily it's going to be hamstring and glute of that working leg. You want to be really pressing through the heel on the working leg. We shouldn't have any pain in the lower back here. If you do, please let me know and we'll fix it. But it's just hamstring and glute working here. You want to try to get equal reps on both sides. And another really great thing about this exercise is that since it's single leg, it's really allowing you to focus on any muscle imbalances between the two legs. And you'll also be able to see if it feels different side to side as far as any tightness or range of motion goes. And then we can also work on adjusting and correcting that. But that is our unilateral or single leg elevated hip raise.
From there, we're going to move into a Cossack squat. So the Cossack squat is targeting adductors, so inner thigh, but also hip mobility. If you're new to this exercise, you can practice just body weight. If it's something that you've been doing for a while, you can add a lighter weight to it. If you're really advanced, you can add a heavier weight. But again, working adductors, working hip mobility, a little bit of glutes, but primarily focusing on the hip mobility. Because we're doing one leg at a time, you can do 10 to 12 to 15 on each leg, kind of just depending on where your body's at, where your strength and endurance is at. So again, we're just using this in this particular workout though as a warm-up exercise.
This is a Cossack squat, so it's really heavily adductor focused. If you're just learning this, please try body weight before we add weight. And then if you're adding weight, you can use dumbbell, you can use kettlebell. So we're starting wide foot position. Take your feet way outside of your shoulders. Toes are going to be pointed slightly to the sides, not all the way out for plie, but slightly to the sides. Then we are really leaning into one leg and bending all the way down. So bend the knee, hinge back, and lowering down as far as you can. With that opposite leg, we're letting that toes come up off the floor. And then as we're coming back up, we're really pressing through that leg that we're leaned over on. So here, press through the whole foot and then come back up. So you're going to feel this a lot in the adductors and you're going to feel a nice hamstring stretch too.
Then from there, we're going to move into a band-assisted Nordic curl. So Nordics are hamstrings. It's a body weight hamstring curl. With the band, if you have not ever been able to do a Nordic curl, the band is a game changer because it offers you like a safety net and a little bit of assistance on the way down, and then you're able to contract hamstrings and bring yourself back up. That way the exercise feels safer, it feels more stable, and you feel stronger. And then as we work through this and on building strength, we're able to move to a lighter band and eventually remove the band entirely. But it's a really great asset to use when you're first starting to learn to do the Nordic curls. Nordics, I love doing 3 sets of 10 to 15. Again, just really working to build that strength inside of the hamstring.
This is a banded Nordic hamstring curl. So if you have wanted to do Nordic curls, but you feel like you are just not quite strong enough, this is a great way to start building strength. So you're going to attach the band securely behind you, and then you're going to loop it around your chest and place it underneath your armpits. Make sure your heels are underneath the pad and your feet are pressed firmly into a foot plate. You're going to extend and then contract the hamstrings to bring yourself back up. When we're contracting the hamstrings, we're really pressing against that foot plate to help drive that hamstring connection. And then you have the band supporting you as you go forwards. So these here are very short range of motion. I'm using them to rehab my hamstring. And as you get stronger, you can increase that range of motion. And you could also work your way down on the strength of the band so that you're having a little less help until you're finally able to build the strength needed to perform a Nordic without the band. But these are a great segue into doing full Nordics. Just keep progressing it within your range of motion, within your range of strength, and you'll have your very own Nordic hamstring curls built up in no time.
From there, we'll move into a banded RDL. So with the band, we're going to go above the knee. And what that's going to do is during the whole exercise, we are focusing on keeping tension on that band. So it forces you to open up the glutes, right? And then as you're hinging, glutes stay activated. We're keeping tension on the band, and you should be able to feel your glutes in a brand new way that you probably maybe have not felt in an RDL before. So with the band, we're not going above the knees, we're going just slightly below the knees. We really want to make sure feet are anchored and we're pushing into that band, creating that space in the back of the glutes. Banded RDL, 10 to 15 of these, depending on how it feels, where your strength is at. But again, it's a really great tool if you have not really been feeling your glutes in the RDLs.
We're going to do a banded RDL. So with the RDL, we don't necessarily need to touch the weight down on your reps. It's more about that hinge and the stretch in the hamstrings and that stretch and load in the hamstring glute connection. By using a band, we are able to place it below the knees, and then we're going to press outwards into the band ever so slightly. This is going to really engage and activate the glute medius. So if you've been struggling with feeling RDLs in your glutes, this might be a good option to really get those glutes firing. So we set the band below the knees, press the knees into the band. Then we're going to place the bar, roll it so it's over the arch of the foot. Bring the hands outside the knees. You're going to lock the lats down and inhale. Then we stand up. And then it's all about that hip hinge. So as we push the hips back, the knees slightly bend, we're keeping that pressure outwards into the band, keeping the glutes firing continually through the whole exercise. We have a slight tuck of our chin. We want to do everything we can to keep our spine neutral. So really making sure that the lats are doing their job in keeping the arms in line with the bar, keeping everything right over the top of the arch of our foot. We inhale at the top, get nice and strong, and then exhale as we come back up. So we're controlling breath. That's going to help also make sure that the pelvic floor is activated and that we're not bearing down into this exercise. So push the hips back, find that stretch, find that load. And then as we come back up, we're going to feel the contraction in the glutes. So make sure we're pressing into that band throughout the whole exercise. And that's your banded RDL.
Then from there, we move to a vertical leg press. With the vertical leg press, it's primarily quad working, but you're also getting hamstring load because we're really lengthening the hamstring. With the vertical leg press, we're having those feet directly under the hips and we're pushing the plate, straight up. So it's a really stable, really safe exercise. It does require quite a bit of ankle mobility. So if you notice that when you're doing the vertical leg press that the heels come up off the plate, you probably either need to adjust your foot position or you may need to work on ankle mobility. Vertical leg press, 8 to 15, depending on where strength is at, but always working to progressively overload the exercise.
This is a vertical leg press. So we're going to be pressing straight up. You're going to lie down on the pad and you're going to raise your feet up and put them on the foot plate. Now you want your feet directly over your hips. So your knees are going to be all the way into your chest and probably feel like they're up to your ears. Now we want to have our feet about hips distance apart, maybe a little wider so that they can obviously bring your knees down towards your chest. And we really, really want to focus on pressing through the whole foot. So we want our heel to stay down on the foot plate. If you are lacking ankle mobility and your heels keep coming up, let's work on that. But here we're pressing through the whole foot, the heel, the toes, and you're bringing your knees literally down into, it feels like your armpits. So you're going to feel this on your hamstrings. You're going to feel it in the glutes, and you're going to feel it a little bit in the quads. You should not feel anything in the lower back. Your knees should not hurt. This main driver is glutes, hamstrings, because we're really stretching out the hamstrings here with that deep hip hinge as the knees come down towards the chest. And that is our vertical leg press.
And that is it for today. So if you do the exercise and you love it, let me know. If you do the exercise and you hate it, let me know as well. Feedback's always great, but be sure to like and subscribe so that you can continue to get updates whenever we upload a new video for you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll see you next time.